Update. Am I the a-hole for canceling a trip because my fiancé's ex and her baby are coming? Original post. I, female 32, have been with Kyle, male 37, for 2.5 years. We got engaged 6 months ago. Kyle has been divorced for over 5 years now. He was married to Elena, female 37. They have a son, Grayson, male 8. Elena has a toddler from a guy she met after her divorce and dated briefly. Ella, female 2.5. Grayson is a wonderful little kid. He has his room in our house and he is so loved by all of us. Kyle and Elena are good friends and co-parenting great. The problem I have is she is everywhere. Beside holidays and birthdays, which I understand, Christmas, Grayson's birthday, Thanksgiving, Elena and her baby are pretty much invited to any family functions, such as Kyle's birthday, Kyle's parents' anniversary, my birthday. Yes, Kyle invited her to my birthday, even our camping trips. I've talked to Kyle many times, but he thinks I'm being insecure for no reason and making a big deal about nothing. I booked a trip to Mexico for January for me, Kyle, and Grayson. Then, Kyle told Elena that on the last week of January, we will have Grayson for extra weeks since he is coming with us to Mexico. Apparently, Elena managed to ask him about our trip dates. Details. As on Facebook, she was posting about swimsuit shopping for upcoming trip. Kyle texted her and asked her if she is going somewhere that week too. She said she researched our hotel and I took advantage of the same deal as you guys. So I guess we will see you there. Haha. I told Kyle then we are canceling the trip. And he said he can't because tickets are non-refundable. I told him that I'm not going. I want for once have a family vacation without his ex-wife. I want a family vacation without his ex-wife. But Kyle thinks there's nothing we can do now. We need to address this for future plans and be more clear about boundaries. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Why are you with this guy again? I know it can't be because he's that good in bed. No way in hell. Or maybe he is, and that's why his ex is still into him. He's got her hypnotized too. You don't have kids with Mr. Have My Cake and Eat It Too. You can walk away. I would strongly suggest doing so. Because they're not just co-parenting. He's banging her. OMG, I laughed really hard at the first part. No, he is not. Lol. He is okay, but not great. Overall, he is a very kind and loving man. He just can't say no, and his ex walks all over him. No, I don't have kids and I'm seriously thinking about ending this before it's too late. Because I'm nosy, why did they get divorced? If it's kid-related stuff, fine. But the rest? Is he actually inviting her or is she inviting herself and he doesn't like saying no? Don't marry him unless he starts having boundaries with her, or this will be the rest of your life. Not the a-hole. He got divorced because, as Elena said, they became roommates, even sleeping separately for years. They went for counseling for a long time, but they both decided it was not working out. Kyle moved out, trial separation. Then they got divorced. She met another guy, got pregnant almost right away, then broke up with him when their baby was an infant. Not the a-hole. There's good co-parenting and there's this. It's nice that they're friends, that they and you are great with Grayson. But you not getting any alone time will drive you apart. And Elena's reveling in it. Elena is a single mom and probably wants to get back with Kyle. This isn't right. Your boyfriend is not looking after you properly. He needs to back up, or this will not work for you and Kyle. Kyle basically has 2 wives at this point. OP needs to put her foot down, and he needs to grow a spine. My husband's ex would show up right after he left for work, at 6 a.m. She would bring me donuts, start cleaning and folding the kids' clothes, asking me my intentions with her ex-husband, since they clearly are still united in effort, blah blah blah. It was bizarre, but the donuts were nice. I could do without her just walking through the door though. Now for the update. First of all, thank you for every single comment. I read all of them. Kyle came home late last night since he was working on a project with his coworker. He saw me awake and got surprised and asked, "Is everything okay?" I said, "We need to talk." I basically told him that either he tells Elena to cancel her trip and establishes boundaries, or we are done. He said, "Oh my god, are you still on this? I'll talk to her for future events. Let it go for Pete's sake." I said, "No, this has been my life since we met. She and her baby are always in my hair. I get upset, you convince me to let it go this time, then it happens again." I reminded him that last June, we hosted Elena's baby's birthday at our backyard and paid for and did everything, and he told me to let it go. Where is the limit? Will she be invited to our wedding and be in a bridal party? Will she be at our honeymoon? Will she be at the delivery room when I give birth? He said, "We are both tired. Why don't we talk tomorrow?" I told him I can't wait until then. "Will you ask Elena to cancel her trip and tell her about my boundaries?" He said, "I can't make her do anything as she's no longer my wife. I can tell her you don't like her and you can't stand her. Happy?" I said, I don't feel like I'm ever gonna be your wife. She's more your wife than I'll ever be. She just doesn't like to put out, so you got me for that. That's how I feel. I feel so unloved. If we break up and Elena takes you back, would you get back together with her? He said, stop. You know how much I love you. Why are you saying these nonsense? I asked again and again. He said, what do you want me to say? That if I'm single, will I work things out with Elena? I guess. I got my answer. I gave him the ring and said, I'll leave tomorrow morning. He said, what? Are you serious? What is going on tonight? He started saying how we were gonna get married and have babies. He knows I left my previous boyfriend because he didn't want to get married, and he begged me to not leave before the holidays. He suggested staying and starting counseling in January. I told him, I really don't have energy or time for this. He started crying. I was awake all night crying on and off. In the morning, he made me breakfast and hugged me, which was so uncomfortable, and said, please don't end it permanently. Let's be in touch and work on our relationship. I told him, no, I just can't. Sorry. Again, he cried and left for work. I talked to my brother in the morning, and he and his girlfriend will let me stay with them until I find my place. I wrapped the Christmas gifts, for Grace and mostly to him, and left them under the tree so they can open them on Christmas morning. He asked if I'd at least join them for Christmas morning. I said no. As for the tickets, they were on my credit card. I'll call Air Canada today to see if I can transfer them to my brother and his girlfriend. I'm so grateful for letting me stay at their place. Sorry commenting again, but he legit wanted to paint you as the bad guy and say you didn't like her, instead of telling her that she was overstepping. Damn OP. I'm calling it now. He'll get back together with her. Heal yourself from this relationship so you'll never accept crumbs for a relationship. That's what hit me the most. I'm gonna tell her you hate her and cannot stand her, instead of telling her that I'm his future wife and respect her boundaries. Throwing me in front of the bus. Wondering how his ex would react. Lol, I was thinking the same thing. She may be like, oh damn, I was just having fun stringing him on a bit and screwing with him, but now that OP has dumped him, he's going to be all up in my business 24/7. She may be getting exactly what she deserves too. Depending on what the ex-wife's motives are here, she may be like, dude, you never told me I was crossing a line. If you would have said I was making OP uncomfortable, I would have backed off. I thought you both wanted me there. Are you stupid? You better get her back ASAP, because I don't want you back. Or she may have gotten what she wanted all along, which is her ex-husband back, of course not acknowledging that the same problems that existed before are going to be right back. OMG, I'm so thrilled you nailed this before a wedding or a pregnancy. You were, indeed, just going to be third-wheeling in their prefab world. You deserve better. Go get it. Except Elena doesn't want to be in actual relationship with him. I think she wants the relationship but not the sex. That seems to be what the whole situation is implying. And that if Elena had more sex with him, OP's ex wouldn't have split from his wife. That's what I took from that. Or he was trying to create a sister-wives thing. One is his emotional wife and the other is his bangmaid. So thank God OP broke up. No one should stay where they aren't loved. Well, according to OP in comments on her previous post, he isn't very good in bed, and she needs a toy to finish. So that may be why Elena doesn't want the intimacy part. Heck, OP said she was with him because he's a really nice and kind person. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ghosting my girlfriend of 8 years and not giving her money for our trip? So about 2 months ago, me and my girlfriend of 8 years took a trip together to Europe for 2 weeks. It was an amazing vacation and we had an incredible time, but after we returned, she started acting increasingly distant from me. She went to a wedding and had a +1 but didn't invite me or tell me about it until a few days before. Then she ignored my calls while I was away on a business trip and never texted to return them until after I got back. When she finally picked up, I asked her what happened in a very nonchalant and unaccusatory way, and she didn't give any sort of solid answer. When I pressed her about it, she always gets upset at me if I don't call her back, even if it's just like an hour later. She just screamed at me, I didn't feel like talking to you. How about I never talk to you again? And hung up. Tried calling her back, she didn't pick up. Sent her a text a day or two later, no response. At this point, something inside me just kind of broke. Like, we've had fights way bigger than this, and I've always tried to patch it up with her because I was head over heels for her. But this time it was as if the in-love feeling just vanished instantly. I think it was because her reaction was so unprovoked. 3 weeks later, she calls me and I freeze. I don't pick up. She starts sending angry messages telling me I better pick up or else, and accuses me of cheating. I didn't. I don't pick up because I know it's going to be an absolute crap show of a phone call. Another 2 weeks have passed, and I've kind of accepted that the relationship is over. but I feel guilty about not paying her back for the trip. We used her card while traveling abroad because mine has a foreign transaction fee. The trip was expensive, about $20,000 total, $10,000 of which has already been split. Stuff we booked before traveling. Essentially, I owe her roughly $5,000. Before the fight, I had mentioned, at least on 3 occasions, that we should sort out our finances for the trip, and if she wanted, she could send me her credit card statement and I would sort through it myself and then pay her back. However, she kept brushing it off and said we'd do it later. Regardless of how she acted, I'm a person that believes in always paying back what is owed ASAP, and I'm feeling guilty about it. Like, I literally will always Venmo people before they leave my sites. So my question is this: if we never talk again and I never pay her back, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. It's better to close out this chapter so you can start fresh. It also closes the door and doesn't allow her to use that as an excuse to try to get back in touch once her affair partner leaves her. And just find a way so that you don't have to be in direct contact with her for the funds transfer. I agree. You want to walk out of this clean and be done. I would send her a message requesting an itemized total of what you owe with receipts or credit card statements. If she doesn't make your best guess, and if you are feeling petty, send 75%. I think it is best to annihilate the ties that she can use to try to drag you back into contact. But you can probably duck paying her back if you want to. I'll defer the part about paying back the money as that has been addressed. However, I don't get it. 8 years together and then an enjoyable trip, presumably, and then poof, out of nowhere ghosting you? Something is not adding up. Even though suggesting cheating. But when? On the trip? OP, after 8 years, you should know her well enough to suspect what's going on. What do you think happened, if you had to guess? Everyone is jumping to cheating, but I wonder if she's pregnant. Either that or she expected a proposal. Now that I look at that, probably the latter. Especially if she was the one spending all the money on the trip. Edit. Thanks everyone for the input. I did read everyone's comments, but unfortunately I don't have time to reply to all of them. Most people are saying I should pay her back, though a good number are saying not to. I think I'm going to offer to pay her back one last time, via text. So there's a record of it. My previous attempts were just over phone calls. Many people suggested I just give her $5,000. Which I think is my fault because I made it seem like it was pretty close to that amount. But in actuality, it might be anywhere between $30,000 to $7,000. And I don't feel comfortable ballparking it in case I overpay or underpay. As I said, thousands of dollars is significant to me, but nothing to her. So I think I'm just going to ask her to send her a credit card statement and that we both go over it separately to determine the amount. Also, lots of people said she's upset because I didn't propose on the trip. That isn't it. We've discussed marriage. She wasn't ready, and I had told her that I wouldn't propose again until after she told me she was ready. Last story. I blocked my now ex-girlfriend after finding out she was engaged and didn't tell me. But she's depressed right now. Just want to get this off my chest because this has been a whirlwind. My now ex-girlfriend, female 28, recently distanced herself from me, male 26, due to mental health issues. Of course, I was very concerned about this and tried to stay supportive without pressuring her during a tough time in her life. We slowly stopped talking. The relationship was newer, so I didn't know her friends very well. I decided to find their social media to see if I can stay in contact with them for updates about her well-being. My ex-girlfriend had told me during our 6 months that she doesn't use social media. When I found her friends online, I also found out that my ex does have social media and uses it regularly. To my surprise, I find out she has been engaged to someone since 2019. When checking public records, her fiancé's primary address was listed the same as hers. I was shocked and asked her about these things, despite her mental state. She denied the relationship and said they broke it off in 2020, to which I presented her with a photo of them in 2022. She told me she always lived alone and bought her place out of interest for seeing new areas, not living with a fiancé. She said I was being crazy and said it's none of my business. She told me to leave her alone, and I said gladly, to which she wildly kept on talking. I think she panicked and realized she was losing part of her support system. Part of me is shocked, happy, and relieved to have found the truth and GTFO of there before I get myself into a mess with this person. But part of me feels terrible for leaving her when she's struggling and most likely adding to it. I guess I will never know what the full truth is, or if she was even struggling. Am I a terrible person for doing this? When she's struggling and most likely adding to it. Sounds like she's the one throwing herself in over her head and then expecting others to pull her out. She lied. She got caught. She isn't willing to face the consequences, not the a-hole. I feel awful because I did genuinely want to help her during this time and be there for her. So that part kind of still stings and makes me feel guilty. I'm working on it. That's what her fiancé is for. Lol, valid. I'm happy to let him deal with that mess of a person. She gaslit and lied to you. That's messed up, dude. Isolate and work on yourself and your happiness. She dug her own hole by lying. Did you try and reach out to the fiancé? I did not, but I want to so badly. I feel terrible for the guy and I feel like he should know, but I don't want to create more problems. I would have never started a relationship with her had I known. Not sure how to approach that or if I should. I'd want to know if I was the guy she was about to marry. I'm sure you would too. Provide as much proof as you can and don't bring it up in an attacking way. This is a vulnerable and uncomfortable situation for both you and him. Was it an online-only interaction? I definitely would want to know. You're right. I don't have too much physical evidence. After blocking her and deleting our messages, I don't have much proof left to give, unfortunately. Now for the mini update. Did contact the fiancé. We'll let you know what happens if he responds. Update. My husband wants me to be a mother to his affair child. Original post. I, 29 female, and my husband, 44 male, have been together for 5 years and married for 2. I met him at a church I started going to when I moved cities to start my career. I work for an insurance company and he's a pastor. I know that we have a notable age gap, but he was always kind to me and made me feel special. Anyhow, a week ago he came home and told me we needed to talk. He told me through tears that he had been having an affair with one of our community members, 34 female, and that she had been pregnant with twins. She had gone into labor, but she and one of the twins died and the other is in the NICU. He said we needed to step up and that he wants me to turn my office into a nursery and set up a cot in the room so we can take turns. I became distressed and told him I wanted some time to think, that I was not sure I wanted to do this. He told me that I had made a vow to him in marriage and that God had blessed us with a child. That this is our cross to bear and that God will never give us something we cannot handle. I told him that it seemed God had given her more than she could handle because she had died. I know I should not have, but I was not thinking correctly. And he slapped me and told me that I needed to serve my husband, that God had chosen me as this child's mother and I needed to be his humble servant. I just feel so strange. Yesterday, I cried so hard I threw up. This woman died, yet I feel bad for myself. I feel so ugly. I wanted children and was saving for IVF because I'm infertile. But now that I have a chance to have a child, I do not want it. I feel like I'd be robbing its mother's grave. I pray to God, but if I'm being honest, it has never felt like anyone was ever listening. I feel like I have truly seen my husband. He looks his age and very tired. I want to abandon him and a child. I'm only 29. I can start over. I have a remote job. I can take a day off when he goes to the NICU, pack my essentials and leave. Neither him nor the child deserve this, and although this is my circus, that is not my monkey. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. The only thing that is not a huge red flag in all of this is you realizing that is not your monkey. He chose to be unfaithful, and from that he expects you to ultimately raise another woman's child? No way. If this is all true, there is only one thing you should do. Run. OP's husband also preaches about the vows she made, but what about him? I'm sure there's something about infidelity in there. Such a freaking hypocrite. If the affair partner hadn't died, did he even plan to tell OP about a second family? To top it all off, he physically abuses her. OP, run from this POS. You know what you need to do and what you want to do. Take a deep breath and run. He's manipulating you with your religion. Don't let him do this. Do not let him take this away. I'm gonna guess that this pastor who beats his wife skipped over the vows about monogamy and faithfulness. I hope she lets the rest of his congregation know what he did before she leaves. Otherwise, he'll probably spread horrendous lies about her deserting him. It sounds like he's kind of preying on his congregation, to be honest. He has already slept with at least 2 of the women, both at least 10 years younger than him, and OP's still fairly new. I wonder how often he does stuff like this to vulnerable women, because I highly doubt this was the only second time. Girl, you better love yourself to leave. That's the hard part. I always have felt like I was never on anyone's radar and just being their back burner. He made me feel special and loved, but this last week I feel like I've seen past that. Although I was old enough to decide to be an age gap relationship, I feel like he had no business with being someone my age. I'm 29 now, and I would feel wrong being with someone 24. I spent my whole life accepting second best, and now that one person who put me first has now put me last, I feel like I just see it all now. I feel used. Queen, you are 29 years old, with your whole life ahead of you. Not a person in this thread is wondering how he got this desperate man. They're all wondering how he got a catch like you. Forget being on someone else's radar. You are steering your own ship and have your own radar. You don't need to be on a back burner. You are your own fire. You have a career. You had the strength to move once and build a life. You can do anything. Just make sure it's the right thing for you, not someone else disguising their own sins or yours. Now for the first update. I just want to thank you all for the support. I'm still processing this all, and I just need a little time. I don't feel unsafe, just in love, just not enough. My husband did apologize for slapping me and continues to express regret. But he can't take it back, just as he cannot take back impregnating another woman, which ultimately killed her. I'm just feeling so disillusioned with my whole life right now. I know I should leave. I know that there is a world out there that will not treat me like this, but I'm scared of change. I'm working on a plan to leave and getting my ducks in a row for when I'm ready to go, but I am not sure when I would leave if I choose to. Many expressed that I should make a report to the police about him slapping me, and they're probably right, but that would likely cause me more problems than it would be worth. If I leave, it might make him want to contest the divorce more, and if I stay, it would cause more tension. I've been working on my left hook though, because I won't let him get away with it again. I'm not violent myself, but I'm down for a tussle, because although I'm hurt, I'm angry. I'm not sure if there will be an update because I'm still unsure. I can make all the plans in the world, but the changes scares me almost as much as bending to his will. I've been praying about it, but I see no clear answers nor guidance. I don't know. Funny thing, I'm jealous of the people saying that this is fake. It's like I want my life to be like it was 2 weeks ago. I could read a crazy story on the internet and think, wow, that's crazy. Seems kind of fake. And keep scrolling and go about my life. Only I can't scroll away in real life, because that's just not how life works. I don't owe anyone proof of my life tragedies, least of all strangers on the internet whom I will never meet. But I do thank all who have given support. I wish I could tell you I packed my bags and left his sorry butt, but I'm not strong enough yet. It's not that easy to do in real life as it turns out. 1. You will recover and be happier, healthier, and better for it. I was married to my abuser for 7 years. I started over after leaving him at 29. At a year since, I've started a new career, married my best friend, taken up new hobbies, traveled, lived in new places. It's been amazing. The journey of freedom and fulfillment and happiness where you're not trapped in an unhealthy and happy marriage with a horrible human being is the best gift you can give yourself, and the whole world opens up to you. 2. He doesn't value you. He values the image and stability you create for him. He's trying to gaslight you into staying so he can save face and create the illusion that you accepted his actions. He is trying to use you to care for the product of his affair and to excuse his actions with the church. 3. He has already physically harmed you by assault and endangered you for the entire length of any affair he has ever had. You need to get tested now and again in about 6 months. 4. Physical abuse only ever escalates. I was married to an abuser, and every time he hurt me, I blamed myself, excused his behavior, accepted his pathetic, whiny BS apologies, and allowed the cycle to continue. He will not change. This will not be his only affair, and it will not be the only time he hits you. If you agree to stay, he's going to leave you at home with a baby, and go find new affair partners, and abuse you when you question him, confront him, or threaten to leave. At which point, he will also use the baby as leverage. Please do not give him the opportunity to do these things. 5. Move out. Take the stuff that matters to you, and go start over. Family or friend you've been meaning to visit? That's a great destination to start with. 6. He's a bad person. Full stop. He is an abuser. Do not allow him to cajole or convince otherwise. He is physically and sexually and emotionally abusive. He is a cheater and had no intentions to stop. He had every intention of keeping both of you for as long as possible. Think about that. He didn't come clean when she got pregnant. She got far enough along for viable babies, and he's trying to get you to raise them. He never intended to give up either of you. That behavior will not change. He is a manipulator. This man was a pastor that got into a relationship with a member of the church while married himself, and then hit his wife when she wouldn't comply with his demands. There was no redeeming quality about him. He just had the ability to hide who he really is. He is a narcissist. I recommend heading over to r/narcissistic abuse and r/narc abuse and divorce for additional support and a place to talk with others that will understand. 7. Good luck from one woman who has escaped a guy like this to another. You will be okay. You will heal. You have a better, bigger, happy, healthy life waiting for you. Please take care of yourself. I'm praying for you. Don't take his nonsense. And when he tells you, God told me, because he will, don't fall for it. You deserve to be happy. If he hit you once, he can do it again. Also, that church. The fact that some people knew and he is now asking them to help you create the nursery, to sacrifice your office, your space, to make way for this baby? Watch out for those people. They are enablers. Do not share your plans with anyone that you do not trust 100%. Do not let him gaslight you into believing that you can now have the life you've always wanted. Please think about finding a good therapist, not through that church, an actual licensed one, to see things clearly. There might even be resources around you that you are not aware of. You have every right to be angry. Pressing charges would hold him accountable for his actions. It might also give you the necessary push and help to get out of there ASAP. Yes, it will create more tension, but this is not your fault. Do not think of it in terms of how he could act. This isn't about his wants or needs. This is about yours. And right now, you need to get the heck out of there. Please understand that change is good. Change in itself is an act of faith. It's about letting go of your control to see what could be out there. Bending to his will, as he so eloquently said, is simply giving up everything that makes you you. And you are worth more than this BS. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. The longer you stay, the more he will wear you down. He has lied and manipulated you. He has physically harmed you. That is not going to change. Change is definitely scary, but being abused is scarier. You need to leave that house. Now for the final update 8 months later. I left. If that's all you wanted to know, there it is. For those of you who are asking how the other woman died, I get it. I invited you into my business. It was an amniotic fluid embolism. I don't know much about those, but I guess when they happen, things go wrong really fast. We lived in a more rural area, so they just weren't ready for something like that to happen. I didn't leave right away, as I know now that I should have. It just wasn't that easy. I stayed for 2 months. I knew if I did not at least try to make it work, I would not be able to live with it. Not because I wanted to save my marriage, but because what ifs keep me up at night enough as is. I went to marriage counseling with my husband, but it was ultimately fruitless. Of course, it was Christian counseling. I felt like their goal was for me to forgive him, rather than actually trying to help me. I was so utterly alone during that time. My parents and brother are also very religious, so even though they weren't happy with my husband, they kept urging me to do what a good Christian wife would do. I spent so much time suffering in my own head that I began to realize that I was just going through the motions, doing what I thought people expected of me. I entered a state of derealization for a time, and that was absolute confusing. The feeling of nothing being real, not even myself, was horrible. During this period, my husband brought his baby home, and while he tried to split the cares 50-50 at first, he ultimately didn't trust me to look after the baby because I was lost in space. So he ended up being the primary provider. When I was with the baby, all I could think about was how its existence ruined my life. It would look at me with big blue eyes, and I would just wish it would disappear. I would actively spend time resenting a baby. There was a time when I was thinking to myself and wished it would stop breathing. That was when I knew that I needed to leave. I was blaming a baby and wishing ill upon it, and that was not okay to do. I don't remember much about this time besides that. It's mostly a blur otherwise. I sought services through my work to talk to a therapist, and I eventually came back to earth. She helped me make a plan. At no point did I fear my husband. I truly believed his slap was a one-off event. However, screw him. He doesn't deserve closure. So on a night he had a long Bible study, and he always took his baby with him because he didn't trust me, I packed my essentials and dipped. I met him pretty quickly after college, so I did not have much to take as far as furnishings. I fit everything I wanted in 3 suitcases and 4 moving boxes. It all fit into my SUV after some mediocre Tetris skills. I was able to change my phone number online before I left, but I did leave the divorce papers under his pillow with my lawyer's contact info. Kind of like the tooth fairy, but for a-holes. I was the breadwinner, and in my state, we were not married long enough for me to pay spousal maintenance. At least that is what my lawyer said. I own my vehicle outright. We had our own bank accounts and a shared expenses account. We filed taxes separately, and the church owns the house. He's being an a-hole about it all, but I'm hoping it should be done soon. I got a decent apartment in a city a few hundred miles away. I've never lived in a city this big before. Everything is so expensive, but besides that, I like it. I found a new therapist, met some new friends, and found a new church with loving people. I still have my days, but for the most part, I'm content. I think it will always hurt on some level, but I'm working on taking my power back. I turn 30 next month, and I am hopeful it will be the start of my best decade yet. Good. You deserve better. Good luck. God, I'm so sorry, but happy that you're in a safe place. You did well for yourself and your mental health. None of this is your fault. It's all his. Happy you're healthy. I hope you stay happy. Nobody needs to raise a child of their partner's affair. You did the right thing for you. I knew a lady who did it, but it's very rare. Way back in the 80s, a lady I worked with, her daughter was a teenager. She was in a miserable marriage. She was raised super fundy and married at like 18 or 19, and just couldn't contemplate divorce. It terrified her. She worked for her husband's company, desperately wanted another baby because her daughter would be going off to college soon, and she'd be stuck alone with this a-hole she hated. She was really depressed that she couldn't get pregnant again. Well, wouldn't you know it? Look, honey, the Lord blessed us. Someone her husband knew had a relative who got pregnant in high school and didn't want to keep it. I want to say the lady's name was Lynette, something country like that. We worked at a Walden Books in the early 80s. Lynette and her teen daughter fell in love with that baby boy, and Lynette ended up kicking the hubs to the curb and keeping the baby. A sweet story. But screw Opie's husband. And Opie, it's not your fault you resented that baby. Good on you for recognizing it and leaving. You deserve a good life. You said you think it'll always hurt on some level. It won't. It just won't. I don't know how to explain how you go from loving someone to loving them, not liking them, but loving them anyway, to just apathy. Just nothing. It's like the world reabsorbs that love. It just evaporates. And it is gone and no longer the burden that loving a narcissist truly is. Look, I just read all your story and it's horrible. I'm sorry you've been through this hurtful ordeal, but thankful to be on the outside now. I know that better days are ahead. Your ex? That dude has zero capacity for love. Zero. He used his baby to try to manipulate you. Score that on a parent report card. He's trash. Be thankful that love evaporates. He doesn't deserve it, and neither do you. I wish you the very best. You'll be fine.